Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Johnson coming to you live from the front lines of a distributor today for Supply Chain TV. This is episode number 1, so hopefully I have some time in future episodes to tell you a little bit more about myself. But if you're curious about who I am, where I come from, what I do, look me up on LinkedIn. That's Andrew Johnson, Supply Chain Innovator. Just put the whole thing into the search bar on LinkedIn. That's your first tip of the day. That's a LinkedIn hack. If you have a very common name, then just make your last name your expertise, what you do, what you're pitching. So make your last name Supply Chain Innovator, my first name Andrew Johnson. There's way too many of me on LinkedIn, so that'll set you apart in the marketplace. Anyway, today for episode number 1, I wanted to talk about a topic that everybody's talking about. I think there's no way I can't talk about it, and that would be the coronavirus. Wanted to give you my kind of small business, entrepreneurship, Frontlines perspective on this topic. I see a couple real tangible fallout issues from this that are really affecting me and my businesses. Number 1 is travel. So I had a trip planned for April. The whole trip is now kiboshed. I can't go see all of the factories and visit the supply chain leaders and sources that I was going to meet with, and I don't know when that trip's going to get rescheduled. So for me, that puts a big damper on some of the bigger projects I had that I was hoping to make some progress on with this trip in April. And now, not knowing when I can reschedule it, I don't know, it's going to be tough to get re-engaged with some of these factories and move these projects forward. So international travel, nobody's going anywhere for a while. We're all locked down. So that's issue number 1. Issue number 2, which is what everybody's talking about, which I think is what the stock market's really reacting to, and that is just the real tangible effects on the supply chain. Right now it's increased lead times. If this continues, it could be just all-out shortages or lack of supply. For my small supply chains, they're not huge, but it's rubber and plastics and some other imported goods out of Southeast Asia and India. I'm seeing my lead times double, basically. Kind of depends on where it's at, but in mainland China, double. And if it goes on a lot longer, it's going to probably triple and then basically just become a giant debacle, and I won't be able to get anything out of there. So it's not as affecting, not as bad in Vietnam and Taiwan, but they are affected, and certainly a lot of the raw materials that go to the manufacturers that I have in Vietnam are also affecting the Vietnamese factories and supply chains. So from my perspective, I'm talking to people every day in Asia. I just heard from a gal in northern China that says that she thinks it's under control, which is the first time, obviously, I've heard of that in the last couple days. Nobody's said anything like that, so her comments kind of shocked me. So either it's very early signs that this thing is under control. She says there's more cars on the street, people are back in their factories. Now, again, this is northern China, so they wouldn't be quite as affected as central and southern China, but she's either kind of the first one to let me know about this, or she's a government agent, she's completely crazy and drinking the Kool-Aid. Who knows with China? Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell, although I have some personal rapport with this gal, so I think she's telling me her true perspective. So take it for what you will. I'm optimistic it'll get contained. The blip in the marketplace will be just that, a limited time blip. But I'm also seeing this as, and then again, a lot of what I hear is impacting me personally, but I see this as a precursor to future issues with a supply chain that is strictly Chinese. So it's just a good wake-up call for the whole marketplace to reevaluate where you're placing all your chips. If they're all in China, you got to diversify. You knew that a long time ago, but this coronavirus is really bringing it home, and it's a really harsh slap in your face reminder that you need to take your supply chain and diversify to countries like India and Mexico. I would be looking heavily towards those countries in the years to come to try and lessen any impact from future disruptions, not necessarily viruses or pandemics like that, but demographics and economic reasons in China say that the future of their manufacturing stronghold is not looking bright. So if you're really focused there, I would start to shift. You should have shifted years ago, but it's not too late. You just need to start shifting now. So that's it. I'm going to try and keep each episode on Supply Chain TV brief. I'm not a big believer in long-winded content, so I'll try and keep my content about under 5 minutes. I'm going to be coming to you with every episode from the front lines of fulfillment, from procurement, from supply chain, from distribution, front lines of travel. When I go to Asia, I'll make sure to put some episodes in when I'm in Asia. And coming to you live from the front lines of entrepreneurship and innovation, family business. Those are the worlds I live in, and I'm going to try and bring you that perspective. Should be real, authentic, and fresh. I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, that's it for now. See you on episode 2.